Dear Dave, dears, I need to remember what, good morning in Irish Gaelic is, because I say good morning 24 hours a day, and I know I've been using, different, greeting on the YouTubes recently, well, until, like, the last couple of videos, but, you know, you can ask any of my exes, and especially the most recent, who needs to get his own shit together, 'cause he's a mess the Mormons made. But then what happens? He found it a little bit, first mildly annoying, but more in a what the hell are you doing kind of thing, not like I want to drop kick you down the stairs kind of thing. And then he and I have a couple mutual friends, and the first I met through him, and the first time a couple of them heard me say, you know, good morning at, 4 in the afternoon, 10 at night. You know, they're just like, Elise was just like, and Isaac says, don't tell him it's not morning yet. It won't do any good. And, Willow didn't have quite the, like, kind of face that Elise did, but Tabitha just rolled with it, and that's how I know that Tabitha is great. And not just the fact that Nigel did not really leave the room when Tabitha came in. Yeah. Hey, Murnau. What you doing? You getting your way of the filming? Yeah, so, yeah, Nigel didn't leave the room when Tabitha came in the first time she was here for Thanksgiving, and you know, of course, yeah, it took Nigel like maybe a couple hours to get back in the first time Isaac was over, and that is fine. At that time, it was probably the most I want to say, or rather the least apprehensive he'd been around new people since I'd had him. So, what am I doing right now? I am making a circle. So, I got this, I don't know if it was originally supposed to be a handkerchief. It's a bit big to be a handkerchief. It might have originally been sold as a, a fancy linen napkin. But chicken butt. I want to embroider a Wheel of the Year design onto it, and this one I'm probably going to keep. If I do the same with the other one, because there were two. Somebody at the Witches' Night Out hosted at Crazy Wisdom. I do a lot of shopping bag videos from there. I only used the steak knife because while I know where my sewing scissors are in the front room, I don't want to go pulling stuff back out now because I'm a very organized person. And while I have two pairs of cooking shears, one that I kind of just use for, like, I don't know, the little plastic wraps on some of the ground beef and stuff like that now, it's like, at the same time, I'm all like, ugh, what am I doing, the other one, and I've got a good pair that I use for, like, poultry and whatnots. Now, I can't find the busted ones, so I just pulled out a steak knife. I do not recommend using, I find Graveyard Girl kind of entertaining, and, yeah, I know she's not goth, but, she's kind of entertaining, and, she likes some gothic stuff. I know she'd mentioned that she was, more, into emo music, I think, when she was a teenager. I'm going to come back in a sec. So what am I doing? I'm doing an embroidery project, and let me turn on some extra light. There we go. So I mentioned that I'm doing an embroidery project. So what did I just pull out this, I don't know, it's called a scrubby yarn. I've made a couple of dish rags, and that I use for doing dishes, the washing up things. So I made a couple dish rags for it. I should probably find, one of those fancier patterns, but sometimes learning new stitches in crochet is more aggravating than, doing my basic, chain and then your basic, double, triple stitches. So, I went to Michael's today, hoping to find a compass, as in the kind for drawing circles. So, I am going to demonstrate my method of drawing a circle without a compass. I could not find one. A lot of that had to do with the fact that I had kind of forgotten what I was looking for when I went in, and then, when I finally remembered what I went in there looking for, it was getting too close to closing time, and I did not want to be that guy. I will tell you the story of the Kroger shopper in a minute, because I used to work at Kroger grocery store. So, this is how I'm doing it. I got my yarn tied to the embroidery pen. They make them in markers now. I was kind of hoping it would be a blue pencil, but this is a marker, and it promises it'll wash out. So, I've already made... Let me put the top back on here. I don't know how fast this thing is going to dry on me. So, I made a little dot. Let me go first. So, my first step was, first, I fold it from square into a half-size rectangle, then a quarter-size square, and then, I don't know how well you can see the fold lines, because this was sitting on my coffee table for a couple days. And then I make a triangle, and then I make another triangle, and there's the middle of it. Can we see it? Maybe? I hope. I can sort of see it from this distance. So I mark out the middle of the, let's just call this a napkin. It's a linen napkin. And whoosh. So I have chosen a, well, see, I'd originally marked for about a 9-inch radius, but I clipped off, I want to say a little over, okay, this is an 8.5-inch radius after tying it onto the marker. Yeah, that should still be plenty big. I figured 9 inches would be about on the bigger end for what I want to do. So because the design I want is going to, is a circle, and I don't want the trouble of, like finding a plate that's going to be the right size to put down in the middle here, and then, try and center it, and I figure this should be faster, so... And if I mess up, it promises to... Okay, so I can put it at an angle. And so I'm holding it down with my thumb right here. And now I turn it around. Every now and then I get a little bit lonely, and something about the look in your eye. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I fall apart, and I need you now tonight, and I need you more than ever. Oh, the Kroger shopper. So, but first, I am going to show you here. Now, I don't need it to be a perfect circle, drawn out as, I mean, you know, I don't need all the gaps filled in right now, but it looks, you know, close enough, and it is centered. So, now that you've put up with all of that nonsense, here's a bonus story time. So, then what happens? Penis. Yes. Oh, right. Kroger shopper. I was working at Kroger. There used to be Kroger. If you're in the Ann Arbor, Ypsilanti area, this will be a little meaningful to you, maybe. Maybe you're old enough to remember this, like myself. If you're not from the area, this is just some local history. I promise local history on the little banner thing on my channel. I mean, yeah, I say Metro Detroit history, but if I just said local history, you wouldn't know where I'm talking about unless you take the effort to, you know, go look at my About page on YouTube and, or, you know, look at the location tag on my videos. But yeah, so, down on Packard, there is, I think right now, as of today, or, you know, like, as of the time I'm filming, so this would be the 3rd of March, 2019, it's on Packard, just before Stone School Road. There used to be a shopping plaza where they are currently building what I believe I remember from the signage out there, luxury loft apartments. Now, this is odd to me because directly across the street from there is, like, you know, townhouse-style apartments. And directly to the side, I forget which cardinal direction, but when you're looking straight at there, from the bus stop across the street from where they're doing the building, it's to your right. And there is, like, a little subdivision with, like, ranch houses and all that. So, you know, there used to be a shopping plaza where they're doing the building. This was the Georgetown Shopping Center. This was called the Georgetown Shopping Center. There used to be a Kroger grocery store right there. And, you know, like, right smack between two heavily, you know, two densely residential, you know, spots. You know, if a grocery store fails, it's because it's being horribly mismanaged. And I don't want to get into, like, how Gary is a dipshit, because I haven't worked there for years, and I don't know, maybe he's changed his ways, but that's another story for another time. So, then what happens is, I was working at Kroger. I usually worked the closing shift, and this is one that was, you know, that closed at midnight and, like, opened at 6 a.m. for some reason. So, like I said, I was there, I was, you know, working the closing shift, usually, and one of the shift managers was Chris, and I often worked with him, and he was entertaining. Like, he was a few years older than me, and his, he had mentioned that his ex-girlfriend, like, you know, like his first college girlfriend, was a goth as well, and, and I think that's how he and I got along, because, I mean, he struck me as a little bit more, like, I don't know, like casual punk. Like, you ever see SLC Punk, and there's that one character who, you know, they, who the lead character is saying something about how, like, you know, this guy, he looks like a nerd, but he will mess you up, you know, royally, given half a chance. And that's kind of, like, Chris kind of reminds me of that, in a way. Like, you know, like, there's just something about him, you know, that is, actually, I think I might wanted this a little smaller. Yeah, I'm gonna make this smaller. So, yeah, I am working with Chris. So, we closed at midnight, and his, and he is getting ready to, you know, start closing up for the night. He's just telling me to do some closing duties. It is literally about, you know, 5 minutes to closing, and this woman comes in, and she says, "Oh, it's okay, I'm just going to get one or two, you know, I'm just going to get a couple things, I'll just only be a few minutes." This woman lied to our faces. like, we kind of expect people at that time of night who insist they're going to come in and just get, you know, one or two things. Oh, yeah, that's going to do a lot better for what I want to do with this. Okay, yeah. Maybe. Or do I want something in between these two sizes? Oh, well. It washes out. I'll take a look at it. So, yeah, like, you know, we expect people, you know, you work at a grocery store, you expect people like that to lie to your face, you know, the first time you see them the night. She comes back to the front of the store where we've got the grocery carts, you know, the little shopping trolleys, buggies, whatever the hell you call them in your neck of the world. And then what happens? She has, like, you know, 3 or 4 things in her arms. So she's already lied to our face and is rubbing our noses in it. You know, she said she's just getting 1 or 2 things, and then she instead comes back with already double what she said she was going to bring. You know, and she puts it into a shopping cart. These 4 things. Let's just say it was 4. So she puts these 4 things into her shopping cart. And we already know that this is going to suck. Now, the reason we didn't kick her out is because it's store policy that even if somebody is coming in at, like, you know, 11:59, you have to let them shop. So, you know, because the door isn't locked yet, and customers first and all of that. So, then what happens is, it is now 11:59, and, you know, yeah, after she came in, Chris went back up to the manager's station and, you know, made the announcement, attention Kroger shoppers, it is now 11:55 in the evening. Please take your final selections up to Register 2, where Rowan will check you out. And then, again, at 11:59, attention Kroger shoppers, the time is now 11:59. We will be closing in 1 minute. Please take your final selections up to Register 2, where Rowan will check you out. Okay, so it's now 11:59. And then again, at 12:05, attention Kroger shoppers! It is now 12:05, and the store has been closed for 5 minutes. Please bring your final selections up to Register 2, where Rowan will check you out. Another 10 minutes passes, and he has been doing these. No. Yeah, he does these, you know, for the next, you know, every 5 minutes until pretty much that format until 12:20. Attention Kroger shopper! It is 20 past. We have been closed since midnight. We would like to go home now. If you can please bring your 2 carts... Oh, because she did come back at 10 after for a second cart. If you can please bring your 2 carts of groceries to Register 2 now, Rowan can check you out. After another 5 minutes, Chris said, hey, you can clock out now. I know you're getting overtime this last, you know, 25 minutes, but I don't want to get in trouble, you know, like, I mean, you're welcome to stay, but you know, they might get me in trouble for not sending you home. And I'm like, yeah, no worries. So I clock out, and, you know, like I said, it's 25 after, and there was no reason for any of us to be there, except for this one horrible woman who thinks that the rules don't apply to her. Who thinks that she can brazenly lie to somebody's face and have a great day. And I was informed the next day when I clocked in by Chris, who I was working with again the next day, that yeah, the Kroger shopper, she didn't get around to checking out until a good, I think he said it was 20 till. So, I was dating Scott at the time, fairly young and dating Scott at the time. Like, our relationship was, new enough. So, the next day, it was a Saturday, I believe, and so that meant Scott was picking me up from work, and I was going to change for Labyrinth in the car, and I was going to... I think this might have been when I was still staff photographer for Resurrection, the old school goth night at Labyrinth that used to exist. And later I was a DJ on Fridays, which was, more, like punk and more old school goth. Well, I mean, it was just kind of an old school goth club at that point, but yeah, so... and I told Scott about the Kroger shopper, and so that had kind of become a thing that he and I had, referenced, like, oh god, it's like, 2 minutes to closing, we don't want to be the Kroger shopper, on those occasions where we had to get something, just before a store closed. We would say, okay, we gotta get, like, real quick in and out at, GameStop to pick up your thing, because, we don't want to be the Kroger shopper, and, and it was fairly, it's been one of those little entertaining running jokes, in my life, and it does come from somewhere, so... I don't know if anybody's heard me say, don't want to be the Kroger shopper or similar. That is where that comes from. Because that woman, I swear, and I will remember that woman's face until the day I die. I don't believe I've seen her since I've been back in the area. But when I do, you will know, because it will be on the local news. That I went after this poor woman for a shopping faux pas she made back in... No, it was 2000, so... Yeah. And now Nigel is playing with my tape measure that I'm using to draw some straight lines. Because he's a kitty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. It's not perfectly even, but I like how this has turned out. And I'm going to take tape measure back away from Kitty, because he's Kitty, and he doesn't need to be eating plastic. No. No. And there we go. There's your story about the Kroger shopper, and how to draw a circle when you do not have a compass. And, like I said, it's not, I don't care if the wedges are 100% evenly distributed, but I did want them close enough, and straight lines would be nice. And, so this is going to be a hand embroidery project. And, yeah, I think I'm done. So, as they do in the YouTube land, feel free to hit the like or the dislike as ever you see appropriate. Feel free to, subscribe if you haven't yet, that would be nice. Feel free to hit the notification bell so that your phone can scream at you when I make a new upload, such as this one right now. Or maybe it won't scream at you, but at least you'll get it in your little subscription queue on, on your YouTube little panel thing. And, other than that, bats and kisses, sweethearts, and I love you so much, and take care of yourselves, and slan.